I've reviewed a lot of games on YouTube at this point, but never did I upset as many people as I did when I reviewed Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I never wanted to review this game. It was highly requested. I didn't want to because I personally didn't enjoy the game. And yeah, it became a little funny to me, and I may have dragged out the joke in many of my other videos. But today, the joke may end, because we get to take a second look at this game while talking about this one. Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. My favorite Switch game got a prequel. So, fellow Switch and Xenoblade fans, if you didn't see my first video, or if you love these games, buckle yourself in for a roller coaster of emotions as I dive in to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna, the Golden Country. So let's make sure we do this the right way. I have my previous video pulled up. I'm gonna make sure I don't miss a single aspect of anything I talked about to do with the base game, and then apply that to the prequel and see if anything has changed. I have been told that this one is better, and a lot of people have even made the bold claim that I will love this game. Now, my first and biggest complaint in this video was the combat. Let's leave that till last because fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm going to take it easy to start with and talk about the characters and the voice acting. And I say take it easy because I think most of us are on the same page with between both of these games, the voice acting in English really isn't that great. Anytime I have mentioned that, everyone tells me to switch to the Japanese voicing, and I agree, I have done that and it's a lot better. But I will say that where I really didn't find any of the characters likable in Xenoblade 2, there was actually a couple of characters I really like in this one. Mythra has pretty solid voice acting, and her character is really interesting and pretty humorous. In fact, a couple of my favorite cutscenes are focused around her, like the fact that she can't cook to save her life. But I do really like the character of Mythra and how sarcastic she is. I also like the main character of Laura. I don't like her English voice acting at all. I think it's really off-putting and out of place, but her actual character and her dialogue I really enjoy, and her story I really like. Because just like in the main game, the story as a whole is boring me to tears. I hate to say it, but I do not find anything that is going on story-wise interesting. I find myself zoning out half the time, especially when it comes to all the military talk, but when it comes to Laura and her personal struggles and trying to find her mother and then the whole storyline around that, not gonna ruin it, I actually find that really interesting. It's really easy to follow along with and connect with her as a character. There isn't nearly as many cringe moments in the story or the voice acting, so it's definitely better. Oh, and the repetitive voice clips. Think you can take me, won't forget me. In Torna, you're not fighting human enemies as much, it's way more beast and dinosaur and creature focused, and I love that. It doesn't feel like I'm fighting the same clone of that one army guy that can only say two things over and over. I'm actually fighting a variety of creatures and beasts in all shapes and sizes, and I'm enjoying that. Both of these games are still absolutely gorgeous to look at. I love the way the first game looked, and the prequel is no different. Sometimes I just find myself stopping and staring at the visuals because they really are that good. It's a beautiful game. Okay, it's time. I've kept you all waiting long enough. Let's talk about the combat. Again, with the first one, I just felt it was too slow, too clunky, and it really just came down to button pressing. And I know me saying that upset so many of you last time, and the main comment I got in reply to that was, oh, just you wait for 20, 30, 40 hours into the game, Wooderson. That's when it really gets fire. That's when the game gets lit and it becomes so much more than button pressing. But the argument I gave back to that was always, I don't want to play a game I'm not enjoying for 20, 30, 40 hours in the hopes that I'll enjoy what it becomes at that point. It was slow going at the start, maybe it built to something amazing, but it took way too long for it to get there, in my personal opinion. The combat in Torna, the Golden Country, is literally everything I was asking it to be in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And it's not just because they took late game in Xenoblade 2 and put it right into the early game of the prequel. cool. No, they actually mixed up a lot of things, changed a lot of gameplay elements, made it faster, more fluid, and just more enjoyable. Everything that I was trying to explain that I disliked about the combat in this game was pretty much fixed in this one. Seriously, I know so many of you hated me bagging on the gameplay in Xenoblade, but it's like everything that I wanted them to do, everything I was saying it was lacking, every part of the game that I said was kind of boring, it got fixed. It's almost like, yeah, they knew too. Maybe that's just me, but let's talk about why I like this more. Right at the start of the game, playing as Laura, you have access to 2 blades. And while you're auto attack fighting and using those time button presses to use your arts, you can switch between those blades really easily. And when one of those blades gets switched out, it comes out as an attack, so it activates an attack by switching character, and then you can immediately use another art on top of that, dealing even more damage. You can switch between your blades again, or you can switch back to Laura. There is even more they've added to this combat that I want to talk about, but that right there in itself adds so much to the gameplay. And also, while you're taking damage, your health will go into red, and by switching into another character, you'll regain whatever was in red. So it actively rewards you for switching, and right there in just what I've talked about already, it's a balancing act between using your arts and between switching between your blades. And you know what that does to the gameplay? You know how in my last video I was complaining you could just set down the switch and let the battles battle themselves out? Well, you can't do that in this game if you're taking so much damage that you have to actively switch between your characters to regain that health back. It not only warrants keeping the controller in your hands at all times, but it actually gives you some more things to think about and more things to do. And that's when we start diving into the other things this game has. Again, almost immediately you have access to 3 drivers and then their blades, and you can switch between all of the drivers and all of the blades. So right from the get-go, you have like 7 or 8 different characters, I honestly lost count, that you can utilize in your battles, that you can dive into the upgrades, you can equip items and ability cores and whatever the mumbo jumbo is in this game. You can dive into that, you can tweak it all, you can make it the way you want to make it, you can bring them to the battles, you can switch between all of them, you can unleash all the crazy arts, you have front arts, you have arts from the rear, you have other things you can... Oh, I'm getting excited. I love that, because this is what I wanted from the first one. You have other things to think about as well, like chaining your brakes with your topples, and then the 2 things that come after that, I can never remember, but if you string all 4 of those together, you get more damage. You also have the specials that you can combo. You can do a level 1 special, level 2 special, then a level 3 special, and if you do them in order, then the enemies will take even more damage again. And you can chain that not only with your character that you're using and leveling up your special, but you can activate the other character's specials as well at the touch of the left trigger or the right trigger. There's so much to the game that I'm losing track of my terminology, but I think it's called orbs or something, that you level up 3 times and then you hit select and you can do an elemental attack to attack the enemies, and if you use the opposite elemental attack, you do double damage. There is so much to think about, and again, that's right from the start. The game throws it all at you, but it's easy to pick up, it's easy to start playing. Everything is faster, smoother, more fluid, and more enjoyable. Even just the base combat itself. Rex was so slow when he swung that damn sword. This game's not only faster at its core and its auto attacks and just its base arts, but everything else around it just gives you so much to do and so much to think about in every single battle. In the base game, even if an enemy was like the same level as you, it would be a grind. It would take so long of hitting those buttons just to work down at an enemy and actually defeat it. But in this game, an enemy around the same level of you won't be that grindy to defeat. His health will actually feel like it's getting worked down, and you'll defeat that enemy in a pretty reasonable amount of time. Maybe it just feels like that because I have a lot more to do in the battles, but I swear just everything is more concise. So even the combat at what is probably considered its best is still just not my cup of tea. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's boring. I even made a Twitter poll to see if it was just me, and most of the votes, about 40-50% of the votes, went to fun and engaging. The other votes either went to not fun at all and boring, or it needed some tweaking. And I think ultimately, looking at it and taking myself and what I need from a game out, putting myself in the shoes of someone that would enjoy a game like that, I do agree that it would still need some tweaking. I don't think that it's there at 100%. This is what this gameplay needs to be. I still feel like it's lacking something, but maybe that's just me. For entertainment purposes, I made the start of this video look like a, oh, will he, won't he? But honestly, I really like this. It's everything I wanted this to be, and I just really like it. It's good. It's really good. It's fun. I wouldn't go as far as to say I love it, because there are some things holding it back, like the story. I just can't get into the story, but going around the world of Xenoblade 2, Torn of the Golden Country, exploring, completing side quests, getting allies on my friendship team or whatever it's called, learning a little bit more about Mithra and Laura and the other characters that I kind of like. There is a lot that I do love about this game, and I really do like the combat. This and all its improvements is not only, again, everything I was trying to get across in my review of this game, but it actually makes me really excited for Xenoblade Chronicles 3. That's nice. It was a nice surprise. I'm glad I picked this up. I'm glad I played it. If you haven't played anything Xenoblade 2, you can go and pick this up without even playing or owning this one. You can dive headfirst into this because it's a prequel and it's a standalone, and you will have fun with it. And if you don't, yeah, I mean, who am I to judge? I hope I didn't upset anyone again, and I truly do mean that. If you liked this video or you learned a little something, subscribe, because I'd really appreciate it. Make sure you click or tap on this video right here if you're not upset with me. I'd really appreciate it. With all that being said, I actually have a few more hours left in this, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish it.